on the campaign trail, door knocking and talking to voters. Let me turn this camera around so got a better camera on the other side. Give me just a second. So we're out from bell to bell, knocking on doors in Knoxville, Tennessee, running for City Council, District 1, South Knoxville, Fort Sanders. My name's Charles Van Morgan. I'm promising to listen to you, the voters, and all the people in South Knoxville and Fort Sanders area, the UT students and non-students alike that live over there, and bring your voice and your will to the Knoxville City Council, which I know is not being done right now. So put me in office and I'll stand up for you. You know, a lot of people are concerned. I hear about getting involved in politics as far as supporting a candidate or asking their friends to vote for them, or in any way getting into politics, because when you support a candidate like me, you know, there could be some backlash, which I understand that and respect that. There's one thing about politics is about voting, is that when you go in the voting booth, you go in there by yourself and nobody has to know who you vote for. So you can go in there and vote for me, Charles Van Morgan, and I'll speak up for you. And if you're that type of person, which there's nothing wrong with that, I understand that. People have different callings. Mine is to do this, to fight for people, which I've done it all my life. Pretty damn successful at it, if you'll excuse my language. I mean, I kept the fatality rate down in Knox County and statewide almost single-handedly. The fight has just changed from the road safety specifically to public safety. And right now we're doing this in South Knoxville and Fort Sanders area. And we can make this a safer community that represents your wishes instead of what they want to do in Washington. So I've got a lot of real public supporters, a lot of people that work in government that can't come publicly because they'll get punished wrongly. But you know, this is not as free a society as you believe it to be. They've tried to stop my speech, tried to shut down the First Amendment numerous ways. And the governor over the state of Tennessee is trying to make it illegal to put campaign literature out against him, and his billionaire buddy has been. So I'm just saying, power to you, the people. We're going to have to put a stop to this. We're going to have to fight this. And you know, we win either way. Even if we don't get our foot in the door in the county, the city commission here in Knoxville, District 1, we have still got our message out. Power to you, the people, taking a step forward. And I think we can win it if we get enough people calling their friends and going to the polls and voting. Then we can sure win this thing. It's not within our reach, but it's going to take us reaching. And right now I'm reaching. I'm doing everything I can. I ask for your help. You don't have to give a campaign donation. You're donating if you call a friend and ask them to call their friends. Contact everybody and ask them to vote Charles Van Morgan. I'm going to speak up for the people, because the people in government power, government's good. It is really good. We've got to have government. I mean, but we don't have to have people in government power that serve theirself. And that's exactly what we have right now. We have rogue people that are taking care of themselves and not doing what Knoxvillians want them to do. That's an issue statewide. But let's start here in Knoxville and see if we can correct this. Get our foot in the door for other things. Make a mark for you in public office here in Knoxville City under the Charles Van Morgan and under your movement, Power to You, the People. So if you don't want to get out publicly, that's fine. I understand that. I've taken a lot of shots. It just makes me work harder, and I'm still here, and I'll be here. And getting on the ballot has got us a bigger platform to spread the message that people in government power don't need to be there. Some of them need to be in jail, quite frankly. And you have all these political people in office today. And I think of the mayor, India Kincannon, and her friend that's running for the seat I'm running for. And they speak highly of even people in another party. So, a car sitting here, I don't know which way they're going to turn. Okay. So, she even speaks highly of Governor Bill Lee. And, wow, a lady sit there stopped in the road. You're going either way. Okay. But she speaks highly of, she's a Democrat, she speaks highly of Governor Has-Been, former Knoxville City Mayor, talking about he did great things for Knoxville. And, you know, why did she run if everything was fine? And says she wants to continue that legacy, but the legacy wasn't good. It was good for them, because that brings me to my point. The system isn't broken. It works like a well-oiled machine. Works well for them, but it doesn't work well for you. And notice the people in office are part of that system that praise the system, praise former people in the system. And we're never going to make it any better. It's going to get worse, and it is getting worse, unless we point out the fallacy in their logic. I mean, even a news reporter wrote a bad story, mentioned my name, that think she used God's name in vain for somebody that's in office now. If they're in office now, they're not doing you any favors. They're not doing any good. She's criticizing new people coming into office. And I talk to people every day. They don't say we need to end term limits and we need to keep people in office that are in office. They don't say that, and that's exactly what our article says. That's so full of hogwash. But the mayor praised the former governor Has-Been. And Has-Been is a thug. He got his millions of dollars off of poor convenience store workers. And when one of them gets killed, he hires another one to make himself rich. And then puts another one in their place, and he bought an election that he didn't deserve, and sold an image of him that is absolutely not true. And his buddy, the governor now, climbed up on Governor Has-Been's money and bought an election, and he's a fraud. And I'm not here to tell you, and I'm not going to, and you probably won't hear this from any other candidate, so you might want to listen, a little different story, whether you believe me or not, or whatever, that's your business. But I'm going to tell you the alternative view, the alternative position that they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop. And this is America. It's not Russia. What happens in Russia if you run against Putin? You get arrested. What happens in Tennessee if you run against the governor or against the city council? You get arrested. What's the difference? I'd like to know. There's not much. They're taking your power away, little by little, the power of the people. So Haslam got elected, and India Kincannon praises him because he's part of the system, and she is part of the system, and they're all part of the system. The system needs to have a wrench thrown in their wheel. It needs to be stopped because it helps them. It doesn't help you. It's not for you. It's for them. And I'm not speaking for people in the system. The people in the system are not working. Some of them need to go to jail. Now, Mr. Has-Been, when he was in the city of Knoxville, the city of Knoxville wasn't run right. It was run right for the elite people, just like it is under India Kincannon, and they don't listen to your will. When he got in the governor's office, Mr. Has-Been raised your taxes. He raised your taxes. Raised the taxes I got to pay, raised taxes you got to pay, all in South Knoxville. He enacted, he called it a safety tax. Yeah, they want to. You got to pay more for gas because of Bill Has-Been, the crook that got rich off stepping over people's bodies. He's a thug. He should be in jail for some of the stuff he's done. They defrauded people, foreigners, out of money at his truck stops. and got out of that because they got a lot of money to buy expensive lawyers to lie for him. And then Haslam lowered his own taxes so that he can have more money to buy elections for his friends. And, Haslam's really the governor right now. And he ended his taxes. He raised yours and ended his tax. There's an inheritance tax. It's only for the super rich. You don't have to pay that unless you're super rich. And it's a fair tax because no one is worth billions of dollars. They're just not worth that much. They got that rich by exploiting people, by working them for nothing and stepping over their bodies when they get killed and putting somebody else in their place, which is what he did at convenience stores. Let me explain to you. Convenience stores are one of the most dangerous jobs in America. Every year, going back to my criminology education, don't let a little education and knowledge throw a cog in their lies. And they're full of lies. It don't make any sense. But convenience stores, when you talk about people getting murdered on the job, the highest murder professions, you think, well, they're police officers. No, they're not. They're not police officers. No more police officers don't get murdered than other professions. The highest profession that gets murdered on the job, somebody kills them, shoots them, stabs them, somebody takes their life away in a violent attack. The most dangerous job is a convenience store clerk. And Haslam had convenience stores. Now, the financial system for us is set up differently than it is for the Haslams because they're good liars. But I'll tell you the truth. The financial system is set up to where if you are a high risk, where you might not pay back the money, then depending on how much they think they can get, how much of a risk you are, you can borrow money, but you have to pay more for it. You have to pay more interest for it because they're taking more of a risk. It's more dangerous for them to loan you the money. So you can borrow money, but you have to pay the risk for it because you're a high risk. You might not pay it back, so they're taking a risk and they get more money from you. So, like convenience store clerks. Now, they're taking a high risk. They get killed more than any other profession in the United States of America. About 300 convenience store clerks get murdered on the job as compared to about 70 police officers get murdered and about 70 cab drivers. It's about the same amount of taxi cab drivers and police get murdered. Somebody takes their life away from them in a violent attack. As compared to convenience store clerks, over 300 a year get murdered on the job. And in the financial system, they're taking all the risk. They got a lot of risk working at those convenience stores. 3 of them got killed on Strawberry Plains Pike. Now, if you take a lot of risk, that's fine. But under the financial system that we got, let me fix this. Under the financial system that we got, you're supposed to get paid well for that risk. I mean, they do. If you have a bad history of being slow to pay back money and you borrow money from them, you got to pay a horrible amount of money back other than what you borrowed because you're a high risk. I mean, they stick it to you in the interest rate. You got to pay more. But when you are on the other end of their financial system and you're taking all the risk at one of Haslam's convenience stores, I mean, everybody knows who Haslam is. He's got his name on the University of Tennessee. He doesn't have his name on a degree there. Got his name on a building that teaches people how to rob people. Look at this, man. People about run over you. That's ludicrous, dude. I can't see eyes in the back of my head. How crazy is this, man? Yeah, this is for walkers too, dude. My goodness gracious, man. That's almost an assault. But the police won't do their job in Knoxville because they'll get fired. But anyway, I mean, you could have slowed down a little bit, horse's platoon. But if he hits me and I can get back up. Wow. But anyway, the financial system is twisted with them. When you take all the risk, like convenience store clerks in Haslam stores, I mean, he makes enough money in those stores involving oil to be able to pay security. But that'd cost him little money protecting his people. And it's easier for him to step over the body and hire another person so he can make an ungodly amount of money, which is what Mr. Haslam's got rich on, exploiting people, including their very death, but he doesn't care about that. He'll tell you he does. You know, they say a lot of things, but don't look at what they say, look at what they do. And let me just say, look at what they do, because I'm just saying, they're the most crooked people in government office. And Indy Kincannon brags on him. Why? Because of money. He might have helped her get elected. He probably did. So she's praising the establishment crooks and thugs. And people at those convenience stores get paid minimum wage, risk their lives, and Haslam has no risk, basically, and he makes all the money. That's a little flip in the financial system in their favor. When you're taking the risk, you don't get paid for it. When they're taking the risk, then it's far slanted the other direction, which is totally in their favor. And the system isn't broken. The system is running just fine for them. We need to put a cog in their system and stop it. And if you don't, we're all going to be walking on bike trails and walking across bridges while we wave at the mayor and the lady that's running against me, her friend, drive across the Gay Street Bridge. That's just the truth. If you want me to lie to you and say everything's beautiful, vote for me, well, I'm just not going to do it because I don't have the heart to lie to people like that. This is not a joke. This is real life. There's people losing their lives because this government administration. There's people that are getting dead. Look at the fatality rate in Knoxville due to drunk driving. Okay, here we are. Got some people on board. But she ran for, I don't know, we went off, but I'll keep going from where we're going. The other opponent that's running against me is running on, it's on her leaflet, public accountability. She's running to make sure that the government is accountable to the public. And they tell you what they're doing. That's what it says. That's what she's saying. Now, her friend, Indy Kincannon, she's the mayor now, she hired a police chief from Louisiana, didn't hire from within, hired one from Louisiana, secretly, where there's sunshine laws, where Knoxvillians are supposed to be aware of who they're interviewing for their city police chief. That could order armed people to come into your house. I mean, we ought to know who they're hiring and what their resume looks like. But she hired another company surreptitiously to hide the person's resume, did it through video where they wouldn't have any documents available, hiding, not being accountable to the public, hiding who she was hiring as police chief of the Knoxville City Police Department. You know, the Knoxville City Police Department, and I have nothing against police officers, but they have a lot of power. I can go to a man's house right down here to the street and show you where there's a dead man because they marched in his house and shot and killed him, and there's no video. So, you know, they could do that. So we need to be aware of who they're hiring. That's not high science. They're going to police us. It's our government. But she hid the resume and the internal documents. They didn't even have any. They did it undercover. That's not accountable. And they had to be sued by the newspaper to make it available who they were hiring and what kind of person they were hiring to make their documents public. So she's running on public accountability. If you sue us and force us to be accountable, then we're going to be accountable. She doesn't have that whole line in there. It just says public accountability. They say, if you sue us and the mayor, my friend, then we'll be publicly accountable. And they're saying this stuff to you with a straight face. And I guess I'm supposed to be just like any other candidate and say, you know, the other candidate running against me is a great person, and her predecessor that's handing her a sign that's endorsing her was a great person, and everything's great and wonderful. But I'd be lying to you, and I'm not going to lie to you. People in government power are crooked as hell, and we better vote them out while we have the chance and get a seat on the city council and take our government that answers and responds to you Tennesseans and get rid of these crooked thugs. So if you hear another politician talk like me, vote for him. They're telling you the truth. I hate to say it. It ain't pretty. But it can be better, and we can win this fight. I hear despair sometimes, and it's always been that way. It's always going to be. No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And I'm not afraid. I'll take the heat for you. Go in the voting booth, mark my name. No one has to know that you're voting for me. You know, the Bible says, my mother taught me as a young child, the angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. You know, God will protect me. I fear God. I don't fear man. I don't fear Haslam. I think he's the biggest coward that ought to apologize to Tennesseans for his wreck of the government that he ran. And what time I'm afraid, I will trust in the Lord. So I'm not afraid of these people. Cautiously moving forward, not going to run into gunfire, but I'm going to contest these people and do what's right for the people in Knox County and Fort Sanders. So thank you all for listening. God bless you all, and remember John 3:16. For God so loves the world, and what he do when he loved, he gave. And God loves you, and I do too. Until next time, let me just say this. I have an interview for the campaign tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock with the public campaign on Gay Street, where they interview candidates. And they've requested me to come to a Republican meeting that's open to the public at, I think it's 502 Bridgewater in Knoxville. And they said they're going to give me the opportunity to campaign. That's June the 16th on Bridgewater. It's a Republican event. And we'll see, you know, maybe the Republicans will turn around and see things the way y'all do. We'll see about that. Anyway, we can help get our message out. We're willing to negotiate and talk. And we thank them for extending the offer, and we'll be there July the 16th at 5:30. I think it's at 502 Bridgewater, open to the public and the media, so anyone can come, I would think. And it says open to the public, so you can. So show up and be there, and let's have a good time and speak out against the government. And then on July the 3rd at about 6:25, 6:30, I get 3 minutes of fame. Whoops. I get 3 minutes of fame with WBIR Channel 10. Imagine that. They're going to interview me. I've been trying to get an interview with them for a long time. So I get on the ballot, and I figured getting on the ballot would help us get our message out. So we win. And we're going to get our message out. And I get 3 minutes to talk to John Becker, I guess, or another person might interview me. It's going to be live too, so stay tuned for that and mark your calendar. July the 3rd at about 6:20. Might be shortly thereafter. I'll get 3 minutes to talk about the city council race that I'm running for. Early voting's August the 6th at Meridian Baptist Church. Let's get in there and make it too big to rig. Let's get elected before they get so many votes they can't even catch up. If they try before the November election, let's win the primary and show them who's the boss. Thank you all so very much. And until next time, goodbye.